Yep, Instagram's on.
Hi everyone, Deborah here. Um, I'm the owner of Business Sales Consulting Firm, and today we are going to talk about health insurance and entrepreneurship. I have Colin here. Do you mind telling us who you are?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'll start off by saying I know I look like I'm in high school still, but I actually realized this earlier today. I'm coming up on my third year in insurance, which is surprising.
Ooh.
Yeah. And so I've had a long path that's gotten me to where I am, but essentially I'm an independent health insurance broker now as my main focus. So business owners, 1099ers, independent contractors, those are the types of people that can benefit most from talking to a guy like me. I'm the one that answers your questions for anything health insurance, whether that's you want to re-examine some other options if you have a group plan through your employer, or if you think that something like the marketplace is the only option, which is the furthest thing from the truth. So, yeah, that's kind of what I do for my day job.
Thank you so much for being here.
Mhm.
So it's a topic
Mhm.
that most entrepreneurs, and especially my client that I'm trying to help start a business, when they come to me, they still have the full-time job and they're afraid to go full-time on
Right.
the side gig or on their own business
Mhm.
because of health insurance coverage, how very expensive it is.
Yes, and that's a common misconception.
Okay.
So it definitely can be expensive.
Mhm.
You hear the horror stories usually just from the ACA, and that's the Affordable Care Act for those of you who don't know, also known as Obamacare, also known as the marketplace. So that's confusing already, right? It has a bunch of different names. But also for entrepreneurs, for small business owners, that's just not the only option that's out there. There's a lot of cheaper options than going through just the marketplace, but a lot of people don't really know that.
Can you please tell us about the different options? Let's say someone is in the restaurant business
Mm-hmm.
and they need healthcare coverage for their family.
Sure. Yeah, so I always start by going through the ACA, looking at Obamacare first, just because it, depending on your income level, can be very, very affordable. If you get a tax credit at all, then it's actually pretty common to see $0 a month premiums for health insurance, which obviously that's going to be the cheapest that's out there, right? It's free health insurance. On the flip side, often what you'll see is those $0 or very cheap monthly plans, of course, will then have very high deductibles.
Mm-hmm.
So it's what I would use most often is a combination of one or two different tools. I typically go towards the ACA first, and then we'll usually package it with a company called Kemper Health or Reserve National to kind of bring your deductible down. On top of that, kind of two things that I want to share that, in my opinion, you should avoid are short-term medical plans and share programs. And if you want, I can divulge a myriad of reasons as to why those aren't exactly ideal or why those aren't even technically insurance.
So what are they? What is the short-term medical care?
Sure. Yeah. So short-term medical, and ironically, the answer's in the name. It literally is meant for a transitional period or just a short period of time in your life. It's meant for those who maybe retire 1 or 2 years early and just need something, or even a couple months early, and they're waiting to get on the Medicare. Or also they maybe you're in between jobs and Cobra is too expensive, so you want to get something that's just temporary or short term. And they're fantastic for that. They usually work on a monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, or actually now annual basis, meaning that you have to renew it very frequently. So good and bad. Bad being that if you have a claim, or yeah, really if you have a claim, then they might not even renew your plan at all. And so when that period of time frame gets up, you actually won't have that coverage anymore. Or I guess best case scenario, you have a claim, you use the insurance, and then when it comes time to renew, they say we'll still keep you, but now the price is X percent more because you did have a claim. You're now more risky in the eyes of the underwriting of the insurance. So yeah, it's meant for a transitional period in life. It's not meant to be your long-term solution for your health insurance. But unfortunately, that's what a lot of people turn to because they haven't heard of some of the other options out there.
Which are the other options?
Yeah, the other options really is what I sign people up for the most is a company called Kemper Health or Reserve National. And in the comments, actually, I'll upload later the PDF kind of a summary of why I like them the best and a summary of the bullet points to them. But essentially, they kind of changed the game. We say it's health insurance pre-2014, pre-Obamacare, because it is traditional 80/20 insurance. There's no network restrictions with them. You can be in a different state or a different country, and they'll still cover you. And on top of that, you get to actually pick and choose, so it's fully customizable. So someone young and pretty healthy like myself, I might elect to not purchase coverage for the doctor because I only go once a year, and it may be more cost effective to only pay the $150 the one time I do go to the doctor a year, rather than pay an extra monthly fee for doctor's coverage. So a lot of the younger folks, or even just older, healthier folks that I speak with, who maybe aren't taking medications, you're only just taking 1 or 2 prescriptions. What we're seeing now is a weird shift in the type of insurance they're purchasing. They're purchasing more what's quote known as catastrophic coverage, or just coverage for the big things. So for hospital stays, for surgeries in the hospital, the overnight things, the freak heart attack that comes up, or things like that. That's being more and more common, and it's weird to hear an insurance salesman, an insurance person, professional say, to not get a type of insurance. But I'm one where if you look at the costs, it might actually be more cost effective to just pay for the big stuff when it comes to health insurance now.
So you mentioned they can just go through the ACA. How do we just Google ACA and then do whatever, or can you
Good luck. You can. It's the official website's healthcare.gov.
Okay.
That's the marketplace that the dreaded marketplace that everyone hears about. Ideally, you want to go through someone like myself, a broker, someone who's familiar with all the options. Because like I said, the ACA, while it has its place, it definitely has its faults. And affordable, although that's in the name, it often is not too affordable for a lot of people. And so yeah, someone like myself, there's a couple handfuls of people in Omaha especially that will sign people up with Obamacare through the marketplace. But a lot of them, they're kind of one-trick ponies, if you will. That's all they know for health insurance. They're not really familiar with other things on the market, especially Kemper Health or Reserve National or something like a share program. But yeah, if you want to try to do it yourself, best of luck to you.
I will definitely not do that.
Yeah.
It's a hassle.
And I guess I want to say on that, the biggest factor that determines what type of coverage and how much your marketplace plan costs is actually your income.
Oh, okay.
So especially as a business owner, I'm not a tax guy at all, but I know that if you own a business, then your business, if you set it up properly, your business can generate a lot of money, but you can pay yourself as an employee of your business a smaller salary. So then because you as an individual aren't making as much money, you actually get a cheaper Obamacare plan. So yeah, and income is something that's almost a necessity for a health insurance broker to do their job in the best way now.
Okay. So I know we talk about cost. On an average, let me give you a scenario.
Okay, good.
So maybe just one person, an individual that has give me a trade, a business.
Well, I just helped a friend out who owns a fitness company, actually.
Okay, fitness company.
He's going to be very healthy. We'll use my friend who's a photographer, I guess.
Okay, so let's say a photographer just started their business.
Yeah.
And they need health insurance coverage for themselves. It's just them, they're not married, they don't have any kids.
Sure.
On an average, how much, I know it also depends on conditions.
It depends on a lot.
Can you elaborate a little bit and tell us, or give us an idea, if you can, about the cost?
Well, what age? Because that's a big
Okay,
thing.
30.
30?
Yes.
Oh, perfect.
And it's a male.
Okay, yeah, the gentleman I just helped, he's actually 28, so that's very, very
Okay.
similar. And I got him, he actually elected to do the full package. He said that he goes to the doctor more than just once a year. So he wanted to make sure that the doctor's coverage was there and not just have the emergency room, not just the big stuff covered. And so I got him all said and done for about $250 a month.
Okay.
And that's, mind you, there's no networks with that, and it was $1,000 deductible. So
Okay.
very, very low, rather than the $4, 5, 6, even $7,000 deductibles that I've seen out there on other plans.
$250 a month in premium.
Correct.
Okay. And what was his average income?
That was, he actually made over 6 figures his first year. His first year as a photographer.
Okay. So not bad. Like that's pretty decent.
And that's actually a very good example. So because his income was so high, he did not qualify for any tax credit for the marketplace. So when we looked at the marketplace, when we looked at Obamacare, that coverage was actually going to be $690 some.
Wow.
So to have a full health insurance for $250 was phenomenal. Which is, yeah.
One other scenario. Let's say a single mom with one child.
Yeah.
And age range 35 to 40.
Sure.
With maybe 60K a year. What can possibly be the premium with absolutely no conditions?
With no health conditions? Okay. So there, again, everything is completely customizable now. So mind you, if I've seen all scenarios, I've seen some parents who say, cover my kid way more than me. I've seen the opposite, saying, my kid depends on me, so I better be covered for everything. I mean, you could do, how old's the kid, did you say? Are they still dependent?
Yeah,
so they'd still be
under 18.
Okay. Yeah, and just a mother and a kid, honestly, probably less than $400 if you guys both wanted the full package.
Okay. One question
children are very cheap to insure.
We just had from Medea. Actually, I want to say hi to Medea, my friend Medea, the business consultant. She's behind the camera as usual, and you can see her. Her question is, what about a business owner that wants to take insurance for the employee? Can they also go through the ACA or come to you? Can you explain the process to us?
Yes. So there's a lot of different options. There is the ACA, I believe it's called SHOP, S-H-O-P. It's an abbreviation, or what's that called, an acronym for something. And that's through the ACA, that's through the marketplace. And then there is a traditional group plan. But typically, from kind of the rule of thumb I use, is if you have under 10 employees, it's probably best to hold off on group coverage, which having under 10 employees, I mean, you can be in business for 10 plus years and still have under 10 employees. But typically, from what I've seen, it's most cost effective to maybe just give your employees a stipend, like a $50 a month, $100 a month stipend to have them put towards their coverage, and not necessarily take out a group plan for all of your employees under your business. It's typically cheaper all around for everybody, for the business owner and for the employees, to have the employees just do individual plans.
That's very interesting. I had one of my clients that came to me, and she was debating on whether she should take a job with a nonprofit. And she was making 40K.
Yeah.
And the nonprofit was offering 60K, but with no benefits, no health insurance coverage. And they asked her, okay, what stipend can we give you so you can have that covered?
Yeah.
Now you just mentioned you can give your employees as a business owner $50.
Right.
Would that be enough for that person?
Well, again, it depends on their age, health conditions. Probably not. You can never get full health insurance for $50 a month. So, and even making $40,000, well, especially $60,000, the cutoff for any sort of, and again, this is 2019. This is now, today. As of right now, the cutoff for any sort of tax credit or what's also known as a discount for an Obamacare plan, is $48,000 and some $100.
Okay.
So 60,000 would be over the mark. So that's when you see people paying. That's when you hear the horror stories of people paying $600-700 or more for their Obamacare.
Oh wow. That's amazing.
And for those, maybe some people watching this do have a business that has grown rapidly or are kind of on that threshold of about 10 employees, or maybe they have more. A new concept newish, I guess, concept that is probably ideal for business owners is something called a self-funded plan. And not to bore you with the details, but kind of the idea behind that is the business acts as the insurance company. So they collect premiums from their employees and they put that into a pool of money. And then if one of their employees has a claim or needs to go to the doctor, hospital, whatever, the business owner, in this case, use you as an example, you'd pay employee A, you pay their claim for them.
Okay.
So you kind of act as the insurance company in that case for keeping all the money in house. And because of that, business owners like that because if you have young, healthy, and not even just young, just healthy people who nothing seriously, no serious medical issues with them, and you don't have to pay out a lot of claims over the course of a couple of years, you might have a big pool of $100-200,000 for your employees' insurance, health insurance. Now, as a strategic business owner, you say, okay, looking ahead, no one is getting diagnosed with cancer or whatever, so maybe I don't need $200,000 as a business owner. I'm going to take half of that and go purchase a company vehicle if you're in a moving company, or open up a new location, or buy yourself a new MacBook, whatever it is. So that's a very unique strategy for the medium-sized businesses out there.
What do you consider a medium-sized business?
Probably about like 10-ish to 50.
Okay, employees.
Correct, yeah, employees.
Okay. My next scenario is this business owner that wants to purchase insurance for a relative, like health insurance for a relative, their parents.
Sure.
Why not? Can they also go through the same path? Go through a broker and get health coverage for the loved ones?
For health insurance, I do not believe you can. The purchaser of the health insurance has to be the insured.
Okay. Okay.
So in that scenario, the mother or the father would have to be the one signing the papers. You can't sign. You can't. That would get weird. Yeah, I've never heard of a scenario where that's the case. I don't even know if that's legally allowed, because then you'd be talking about they'd have to look for insurable interest. That comes up in life insurance.
Okay.
Not necessarily health insurance. Like life insurance, I know you have to have insurable interest. You can't just take out a $200,000 life insurance policy on someone you just met.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Then it's a little fishy. That raises some questions.
So let's say one person, they are currently employed, and I know there is a grace period when you end your employment, and then you transition into a different employment or your own business. During that transition period, what do you advise people to do?
So typically in that scenario, something called COBRA, which I'm sure almost everybody here has heard of, is offered. COBRA is typically unaffordable. It's very, very expensive. So that's actually a scenario where I would look into using a short-term medical plan. Assuming that, I guess it depends on your goals for your next step. If your goal is to maybe just get laid off, or you're just in transitioning jobs for whatever reason, if your goal is to get into your next job that will have benefits still, then yes, just something temporary is fine. But if you get laid off, or if you quit your job to fully pursue your side hustle or a side business you've been working on, then you want to look for a long-term solution like an ACA plan, a marketplace plan, or Kemper Health.
All right. Anything else that you want to add?
Health insurance is more affordable than people think, and there's a there's about a handful of options out there. A lot of people think there's just one or two options, and that has changed, and it's continuing to change, especially as new laws are coming up. I know, for example, next year there's actually going to be another company entering with new marketplace plans. As of right now in Nebraska, there's only one company, but next year there's going to be a new one. So this industry keeps me on my toes, and I like it because I get to constantly learn. And I always joke my business cards should say something like puzzle expert, because I'm constantly putting different pieces and looking at different people's scenarios together and finding what's best for them. And luckily, there's many options now in the whole market, not marketplace, but in the whole health insurance market in general, that you can truly make health insurance your own. You can customize it to fit you and your specific needs. It's not a one size fits all. There's definitely more options out there than people think.
So it's more affordable than people think.
It definitely is.
And we just had one more question. What's the difference between ACA and marketplace?
So they're actually the exact same thing. Okay. ACA stands for Affordable Care Act, which the street name is Obamacare. Okay. And then you sign up through those plans through the marketplace.
Okay, so marketplace is definitely where you want to go, but you said earlier, good luck with that. So
yes, I would go through. You need to go through a broker, because with anything, a broker is the one like myself that has access to everything. We have access to the marketplace. We have access to different companies. We have access to share programs. So brokers are a newish concept in the last decade or so, where they're created because everyday people, one, don't have the knowledge. I mean, to do my job, you have to take tests and certifications and have licenses. But two, people just don't have the time, honestly, to call every company individually and write down on a notepad, compare, okay, this company has this network. Oh, my doctor's not in this one. I have lots of homework now, so it's like I'm still in school. But yeah, essentially a broker is the one that does all the calling or does all the research for you.
Okay, so there is a big advantage to do that.
There is.
And does the individual have to pay the broker?
Good question. No. So people like myself work on a...
And this question is coming from Medea.
Right. She has lots of questions.
Yes.
Good. Because a lot of these things are kind of second nature to me, because like I said, I've been doing this for a while, and it's common sense to me, and I often forget kind of the back end. But no, as a broker, I work on straight commission, so I don't charge people for a consulting hour. I don't charge anybody any fees. With insurance, there's a negative kind of cloud over the whole industry right now, and honestly, that's because the industry's kind of old, and the people in it have been in it for a while, and that's changing very rapidly. People like myself are more attuned to keeping up with the changes and not just sticking to something because we know it and it's worked for the past 20 years or even past 6 years, because the whole thing shifted just in 2014, just 5 years ago, and it'll shift again with the next president or with the next piece of legislature. It can shift any time. So it's kind of the people who keep up to date on all these changes that are really driving the industry and making a difference. And especially being younger, obviously, I have no desire to I'm in this industry for a long time. I'm not going anywhere. I've seen, you don't really become passionate about insurance until you've actually been in it and seen the benefits of having your situation set up properly. And on the flip side, I've had the tough conversations with clients where I've said, okay, we actually have to apply for Medicaid now. Like your hospital bills or whatever you had was set up wrong with the last person. And so now I'm playing the role of a firefighter and trying to pick up the pieces. So working with a broker, they're typically more knowledgeable, and they're the ones who will be more authentic and not just look to sell you the first thing that comes across their mind. My conversations with people are typically 2 or 3 meetings before we end up even signing up for anything. So it's not going to a house or coming to my office and we're going to get you something today. It's give me some information so I can do my homework and figure out what's going to be best for you.
Very neat. So we've come to the end of this talk show. And this was about healthcare and entrepreneurship. If you want to go full-time on your business and you're scared of leaving your full-time job just because of health coverage, go back and watch this video and leave questions. We will try our best to answer those questions. Why go through a broker versus going through the marketplace? And they will give you an idea of the cost and everything that you need to know about healthcare. Colin is here. His contact information will be in the comments box, and you can find him also on Facebook. Go through the Business Sales Consulting Firm page as well, and he will drop a lot of information in the comment for you to come back and to check. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Mm-hmm. Bye.